So, should you have a different brand for each type of product that you sell, or should you have one brand that covers them all? Well, let's look at some of the pros and cons of each approach. Now, if you have one brand for all of your products, the pros are, well, first of all, consistency. People can associate your brand with all of your products, and so therefore, if people have bought one of your products and they like it and they like the quality and it does what they want, then when you launch another product, they're more likely to go ahead and buy it off the back of their experience of having bought your first product. And of course, it will establish you as a market leader because people will see your brand over and over again. And this is particularly important if you trade in one particular niche, because people will associate your brand with a particular type of product. And your brand and your company can be one and the same. So you don't have to have different types of advertising, it can all be the same. On the downside, it can be restrictive. If you try to branch out into another type of business, into another niche, then you might find that people associate your brand with another type of product. And secondly, if the brand becomes toxic, it can bring your entire business down. So what about having a different brand for each type of product? Well, the pros are that, of course, you can have a different brand for different markets. I know that's more difficult online when you're trying to access a global market, but offline, where you might be trying to sell to different markets individually, this gives you a lot more flexibility. Another thing, and this is I think a reason why a lot of big corporations have different brands for each product type, is that you can sell the brand on without having to sell the company. And also, you can drop the brand if it becomes toxic. So if there is a problem with one of your products and it does manage to taint the brand, you can just simply discontinue it, but you can still carry on selling your other products without any interference at all. Well, what about the cons? First of all, it's expensive. You have to develop each new brand from scratch. Every time you introduce a different type of product under a different brand, you have to start all over again with building the brand, with marketing it, with getting it into people's memory, with getting people to notice it. And you have to establish brand loyalty for each new brand. You can't trade off of your existing brand. Like I was just saying, you have to start all over again. And that means you have to duplicate things. You have to duplicate advertising, for example, because you have to have two advertising budgets, one for your existing brand and one for your new brand every time you introduce one. And of course, the cost can mount up, especially when you're just starting out. Let me give you a couple of examples of corporations who take each type of approach. The first one I show you is Sony, the Sony Corporation, and they market everything under the Sony brand. And you can see they operate in all sorts of different niches: video recording, audio encoding, optical storage, and so on. Three sort of core areas: consumer electronics, computer equipment, and also things like entertainment. They also have Sony Financial Services, but that's, while it is apparently the biggest grossing part of the company, it only really operates in a very small market, mainly in Japan and the Far East. It's not very well known outside of that particular area. But you can see all the other things. If you've bought a Sony camera, it's going to say Sony. If you're buying Sony video editing software, it's going to say Sony. Sony Pictures Entertainment, again, it's Sony. Sony Music, again, it's Sony. So everything carries the Sony brand, and that works for them because they can build up on their existing well of goodwill from customers who bought another Sony product. And the other example is Unilever, and Unilever is an Anglo-Dutch conglomerate, and they mainly work in the foods, beverages, cleaning agents, and personal care products niches. And Unilever own a lot of different brands, and I'll just show you the website here that lists quite a few of them. And you can see here a list of all the different brands that Unilever have. You've got things that you're probably familiar with, things like Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and I can't believe it's not butter, Red Rose tea. You've got, if I scroll down a bit further, the different ice cream brands which operate in different countries. For example, in the UK they're under the Walls brand, but they're different brands in different countries as well. Cornetto, Magnum, and so on. And you've got all the other things here, laundry detergents, Lifebuoy soap, Surf laundry detergent, Brute cologne, Cif cleaning products, Persil washing powder, Pond's cold cream, all these different things, and they're all owned by Unilever. Now the thing is, what's happened in lots of cases is that Unilever have acquired these brands. They've actually bought the brand, and they bought the manufacturing, and they bought the distribution infrastructure from other companies. And there have been cases as well where Unilever has sold on a brand to another company, and they're able to do that. They're able to keep trading as Unilever, but they're also able to buy and sell the brands without affecting their core business. And that is, of course, another big advantage of having a different brand for each product.